What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. I've only got 2 picks that I put down that I'm going to take you through today. We've got a whole lot of game time decisions that we have to wait on, so I've only got the 2 for you. Now, if that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
Before we jump into the picks, we do have to recap the day that was. I shared 4 picks on YouTube yesterday. We went 3-1 in those picks. So not a bad day if you tailed the free ones on VIP. A pretty decent day as well. 6.6 units in the profit. It was a good day. We didn't hit anything crazy, but there was some pretty good reads in there that I was happy with. But first, let's touch over the ones that lost, see what we learned, and then we'll roll into the winners. The first one was Denny Advia, over 25.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And my man got injured again. And as much as it sucked to lose, I still thought it was a pretty good read. The whole call out here was no Kristaps. He's going to be attacking the rim. 12 points, 6 boards in 23 minutes. He had taken like 10 shots around the basket as well. So everything was looking nicely before he got injured. And as a matter of fact, before he got injured, I think he led the Blazers in points and rebounds at that point in time. Game ended up being close. A lot of the Blazers starters played a ton of minutes. So had he been there, confident he would have cashed that bet. I also took Nikola Jokic over 22.5 rebounds and assists. He had 22 points, 15 rebounds, and 6 assists. And he still sucked today. He had the worst plus-minus on the team. Played with an injury by the looks of things. Played a ton of minutes. The assists weren't there. I didn't watch this game, but I did check the box score. And based on what I'm seeing, it's either he didn't pass the ball or his teammates didn't make shots. I don't know which it was, but, Jokic still had a pretty decent game, but not good enough for us to cash that bet. I also took Bryce Sensabaugh over 16.5 points. He played 30 minutes in this game. He attempted 15 shots. I thought it was a really good read. Unfortunately, he shot like ass. Like, what hurts is he missed a 3-pointer. Could have sent that game into overtime. Would have cashed this bet. Also would have cashed the bet I had for him for 20 points, I think, if it goes to OT. But it doesn't happen. I didn't hate that bet, if I'm being honest with you. And then we had a whole lot of winners. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, over 38.5 points and assists. I love this bet. I thought he could cash 38.5 in points alone, and he did. 41 points for SGA today. Evan Mobley took him over 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He had a great all-round game. He managed to cash this. Great rebounding efforts here from Mobley. I was getting frustrated with all the free throws he was missing early, but he cashed us out. Took Kyle Filipowski over 12.5 rebounds and assists. I honestly think we got lucky with this one. Sometimes you get unlucky, whether it be injuries or some horrible shooting. There's bad luck out there too, but there's also some good luck. So Kyle Filipowski, the whole angle here was I thought he was going to dime up like crazy and still get close to his rebound line. Didn't happen. Didn't get any dimes, but he rebounded like an absolute beast. Covered this rebounds and assist line in rebounds and alone. So I'd say I was lucky with that pick. Don't think it was the best read, if I'm being honest with you, but we cashed it there. Took Ja Morant under 31.5 points and assists. This got real sweaty late, but he does finish with 30, so we cashed that. AJ Green over 6.5 points. Once the Damon Giannis show was over, Green started cooking. I was worried for a little bit. Like Damon Giannis had scored like 75% of the Bucks points at one point. And then eventually they sit and AJ Green goes crazy. I think he finished with 15. Keon Ellis took him for over 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He cashed this real early in the game. Had a great all-round game, if I'm being honest with you. Strong on the boards. Made some early shots. So I was happy with that. Then the value play started rolling in. We got one for SGA at plus 240. Jonas Valanciunas, who had 5 assists at plus 320. And SGA and Jonas a doubles combo. We had a Keon Ellis value play. We hit AJ Green for 10 points, and we also had a doubles combo for those two as well. So we're now up to 13.6 units of profit in March. This NBA season, we're up 229 units. So if you're interested in checking out VIP, use the code SGA to get 50% off the next 2 months. VIP, though, is most beneficial for those who can create same-game parlays on the NBA. You'll also get all my bets across all the different sports, Australian sports, US sports, whatever it is. Whatever I'm placing a bet on, you're going to have access to. But if you just want access to my straight picks and any DFS entries I happen to put in, you can get the straight picks plan. It's only $1 a day. I'll leave links for both of these in the video description below. Now, let's get into these picks, shall we? Let's go. Actually, before we jump into the picks, just let me show you what I'm working with today. Having a quick look at RotoWire, and the only reason I've got the 2 picks is because there's a ton of game time decisions. There's 6 players from the Bulls. The Magic only have Cole Anthony, but you can't bet on the Magic players unless you know if the Bulls are going to be competitive or not. Haley's a game time decision. So is Benedict Mathurin. Trae Young always is. This Philly-Boston game, we've got PG's a game time decision. Boston still has Holiday, Tatum, Porzingis. We don't know if they're going to play. The Warriors and the Brooklyn Nets. Not too many game time decisions there, but it's tough for me to find an angle on that right now. Targeting some bench players for the Golden State Warriors, so I need some more lines to open up. We've got Houston versus the Pellies. No game time decisions there, so I do have a play in that game. Then we've got the Knicks versus the Lakers. And obviously the Lakers, tons of game time decisions, but, so do the Knicks. Precious Achiuwa, OG, Robinson. So quite limited in what we can put down for some content. But the two bets I'm happy to share with you, let's roll with them, shall we? First, we're going to jump into Props Madness. This is the best tool you're going to find if you like betting on NBA player props. You'll get a 7-day free trial, and you'll get 25% off if you use the code DAFT when you happen to sign up. I also have a few tutorials on how you could use this, so you can go ahead and check that out too. The first play I want to share with you is on this man on the screen, Alperen Sengun. I took him over 31.5 points and rebounds. Sent this out to VIP. Then it started to move real quick, 32.5. And I would still play it at 32.5. At 33.5, probably as far as I'd go, provided I was getting plus money for it. But let's talk about it at 31 because that's what my research says. So now, why am I betting on Alperen Sengun? Pretty much post the All-Star break, he's been an absolute machine. I did bet on him in the last game, over 20.5 points against Indiana Pacers. He had 25 points in that game. His line's still at 20.5 in this one against the Pels. So the pivot there, you could just take the points, you could just take the rebounds. I'm taking both of those suckers. Why the hell not? And Alperen Sengun been an absolute beast since the All-Star break. He's over this line in 5 out of 6 games. Been a freak of nature. And in these 6 games, averaging 34 points and rebounds. Had one poor game against the San Antonio Spurs, but he only played 19 minutes in that game. Still had 9 points and 11 boards. Expected to play more than 30 minutes in this game. One big reason that I love this play for Sengun at the moment is that his usage rate is sky high. If we just look at his usage rate post the All-Star break, it's almost at 30%. On the season, he's close to 27%. So seeing a 3% lift post the All-Star break. But this also correlates with Fred VanVleet being out of the lineup. So Sengun just seeing more ball, more opportunities in general. So I like the fact that he's seeing the ball a lot more. I also like that his matchup here against the Pelicans is a pretty good one. The Pelicans, they do allow the second most points in the paint, specifically in the restricted area, the second most points in there. Sengun lives in the paint. 86% of his points are in the paint. 53% of those suckers in the restricted area. What I also like about this is pretty much points and rebounds versus position. And if we look at the Pelicans on the season, I think they allow the second? Is it the second most? Yeah, it is. Second most points and rebounds to centers in the league. So similar types of centers have performed quite well against them. So lacking a bit of size. I know they're running Kelly Olynyk at the 4, Missy at the 5, but Sengun's a different beast. I think he's more than big enough to handle both of those guys down low, score a lot of points, get a lot of easy rebounds as well. Kelly Olynyk does stretch the floor, although Eve Missy doesn't. So like an Alperen Sengun here, provided he avoids foul trouble with Zion barreling into his chest for half of this game, I like Sengun to get the minutes. We've got a 4.5 point spread, so we know he's going to be on the floor provided this game stays close, and we know his usage rate's going to be sky high. We just need to make these buckets, grab those boards, cash us out in this one real quick. Now, the last play I want to share with you is in this Pacers versus the Hawks game. I think this is the game that has tons of value. And the whole reason for it is the total's at 247. So expecting a very high scoring game. The spread's only 2.5 points. So anyone could win. If the game's close, the books are expecting a lot of points. We're going to see a whole lot of points. And we're also going to see a whole lot of assists, which is why I'm taking Trae Young today. Taking him for over 11.5 assists. This is a plus money play. I love me some plus money. Now, why am I betting on Trae Young outside of that? Well, very similar to Sengun. Post the All-Star break, my man's been balling. Let's take a look. He's played 7 games post the All-Star break. And in those 7 games, he's averaging 11.6 assists. He's over this line in 5 out of the 7 games. He's had some great games diamond up against much difficult? That's bad English. Much more difficult opposition. So if we're just looking at assists allowed post the All-Star break and the teams that he's played, we can see here 12 assists against OKC. How does anyone do that? 13 assists against the Detroit Pistons. Tough matchup as well. In terms of assists allowed, the Indiana Pacers are sitting middle of the pack. But one thing I love about this play is the pace. Pace of this game is expected to be sky high. So if we look at Trae Young against high-paced teams post the break, he's been fantastic. OKC, that's how we got the 12 assists because they're playing at a frenetic pace at the moment. The Grizzlies always play fast. He had 15 assists against them. The Milwaukee Bucks, 8th fastest pace in the league this year, at 13 assists against them. And then the Indiana Pacers, who he has next, they play slightly faster than the Bucks. They've got the 7th fastest pace in the league. What I do like about this as well is if we look at the defensive rating of all these teams that he's played, the Indiana Pacers, much softer matchup compared to the last 3 teams. If I can just find the right filter for you, I'll show it to you. Here we go. So in terms of defensive rating, out of every team that the Atlanta Hawks have played post the All-Star break, the Pacers have the worst defensive rating out of all of them. So we've got an easier matchup. We've got a fast-paced game. We also have history on our side. If we take a look at how he played in his last game against the Indiana Pacers, 17 assists from 25 potentials. No Jalen Johnson in this game, which is very important. There was no Bogdanovic in this game either. So Trae Young going to be suiting up with a lot of the regulars he has been seeing post the break. The connections looking nice. Now, if we look at the assist profiles here, we can see Trae Young getting 50% of his assists around the basket. So he's not very dependent on outside shooting in order to get these dimes. It's a whole lot of dunks and layups. Now, if we take a look at this Indiana Pacers team, 19th, so the below average in points allowed, assists allowed to the restricted area. If we just look at how they defend the restricted area in general, we can see here, bottom 10 in the league in terms of points allowed. What I also like about this is when you look at the shot zone, you can see here that the Indiana Pacers actually do a very good job of limiting points above the break, which is crazy when you play at such a fast pace and there's so many possessions. They're running people off the line. They're making it difficult for guards. They're forcing them to pass or they're forcing them to drive. They're not giving them those shots. And if they force Trae Young to drive here, it's going to give him options to dime up towards the rim, as you can see here. Great matchup for it. Or to hit corner shooters. So Trae Young, I think this is a great matchup for him to get some dimes. I'm loving him to get some assists. He got a lot of assists and a lot of points the last time they met. I don't want to muck around with points right now because I don't want to fall victim to variance and bad shooting. Let's roll with the assists, get Trae Young, hitting Okongwu, Capella, all around the basket, getting some layups. I think those are going to be the prime targets for him. But that's what I'm rolling with. So Trae Young over 11.5 assists is a plus money play. Now, the last thing I'll take you through is a lean. And I didn't bet this. I might bet it in the morning, but I was looking at Tari Eason, and I was looking at over 11.5 points. Now, like all the other players I just spoke about, he's been a beast post the All-Star break. He's over this in 4 consecutive games post the break. He's seeing slightly more minutes, more usage with Fred VanVleet out of the lineup. Tari Eason is the first man off the bench. He's their 6th man for the Houston Rockets as it stands today. He's the first man up. He plays the most minutes off the bench, and he's got a fantastic matchup today. If we're just looking at how he scores these points, transition, 2nd most points allowed. Spot up shooting, 3rd most points allowed. Putback points, the most points in the league, the New Orleans Pelicans. If we look at his shot zones, he scores 54% of his points right around the basket. The Pelicans, 2nd most points allowed around the basket. And another reason here is he's projected for like 25, 26 minutes. I feel like there's a world where he could see even more minutes because out of everyone that Houston has defensively, he's probably the one who's best suited to defend Zion in this type of matchup. So if he avoids foul trouble, I think Tari Eason could play a lot more minutes than what he's actually projected for. He might even get to 30 minutes in this game. And if he does, I absolutely love his points prop. So that's one that I'm considering. I'm on the fence about. I might put that down as a bet in the morning. Why haven't I bet it now? I don't know. Role players off the bench. That's the question mark that I have because I don't know. I don't know. I haven't found a reason not to bet it. I feel like maybe I'm being biased towards his recent form, but I get his recent form is impacted by Fred VanVleet not being there. So I get it. It all makes sense to me. I don't know. There's just something about it that makes me not want to bet it just yet. I'm going to sleep on it. I'll wake up in the morning and see if Tari Eason points to something I want to play. Who knows? This line could move. If it gets to 12.5, 13.5, then I'll probably avoid it. If it's still at 11.5, probably have a little bit more confidence and we might take it there. But that's the only lean that I have. There's just so many game time decisions that I've spent like throughout this NBA season. I wasted a lot of time researching games and then for players to be pulled and suddenly all the research that I've done doesn't mean anything. So I'm not going to put myself through the torture of that. Wait for the lineups to be somewhat set, dive in, get these picks out. So for those of you who are on Winnable, whether it be my straight picks or in the VIP, expect all my bets to be done at least an hour before the first game. Should have everything ready, cooked for you. So that's a wrap on today's video. Nice and easy, simple. Probably not. I'm difficult to understand at times, but I do hope you appreciate it. If you did, smash the like button, leave me a comment down below, push this video out to more people, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, dropping heat just like this every single day. Now, I appreciate it if you made it this far. I'll catch you in the next one. Let's green out, boys and girls, kings and queens. Peace.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.